Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball, and it's week 55 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This is it. It's the last week of the first year of the competition as we're about to hit New Year's. It's technically been over a year now by a few weeks as I started the channel in early December, just over a year ago. But I'm going to do that turnover here with New Year's. You know what? We're not going to watch this first game. Hartford, that's going to be an easy win. Push right on through that one. We'll watch our first game with something a little more challenging. 90-60, final score on that one. Got Elon up next, and let's just finish out the week. That's not worth watching either. Excuse me. It's a little surprising so far. Our top scorer is Brian Steele, who is nowhere near our top player, but he is a scorer. He's also grabbing a lot of rebounds.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
Okay, we have not played that game just yet. So we can stop when we get to a game we want to check out. Elon should be a relatively straightforward win for us. There we go, 4-0. Nice start to the season. It's been a while since we've had one like that. We've had so many difficult non-conference schedules of late with nothing but road games. At Indiana State, they are just 2-4. It's certainly not a guarantee because we are on the road, but that's a pretty winnable game, you gotta say, compared to others, and we might just check that one out. So can we keep the streak alive? Can we take it to 5 wins? We'll find out here tomorrow. This will be the first game we watch. My objective on this episode is a little bit different than usual. I tend to do one episode to push through the non-conference schedule and one episode to push through the conference schedule and or end of season tournaments. While that first episode is heavily catered towards recruiting. There's no recruiting to do this season. I have 0 scholarships, I have 0 seniors outgoing, at least 0 seniors on a scholarship, and here we are trailing early on actually. There we go. Got right back into it halfway through. First half, we are level at 15 apiece. We are plus 4 on rebounds, minus 3 on turnovers. Field goal percentage was just 30%, so you can see that's exactly why. The moment we start shooting the ball a little bit better, get up to 40%, and suddenly we have a lead. Neither team has made a three-pointer yet. Wow, 35-33 at half. Poor game so far for us. Still back under 40%. A lot of dead balls here. Let's go ahead and use a timeout, see if we can't build a little momentum out of that. And actually, we're getting the momentum even without the timeouts. And it's 57-44 as we scored about 15 straight points there. And now we are cruising. Largely because we started making our threes. And our shots in general. There we go. Nearly 20-point victory on that one. 77-60 the final. We got Chris Monroe scoring 22 points. That is our true freshman that's come in with absolute ability. 7 of 12 shooting for him. Big day. Steele was quiet today with just 4 points. Well, anyway, the objective for this episode is I'm going to see if I can't push all the way to the end of the season.
You have new mail.
So we're not going to be watching a whole lot of games. We will sim through most of them. Especially non-conference. That was the only game probably that we will watch. Non-conference, unless we end up with a huge matchup. Our RPI is rising now, as we just won a road game. That makes a big difference on that RPI. But we've got another home game with Texas State coming up. So after years of almost straight road games during the non-conference schedule, things are a little more balanced this year. Texas Christian on the road, they are just 3-3, but anytime you have a road game, it's going to be challenging. But we do pull off another road victory and stay undefeated at 7-0. But next up is Bowling Green, and we just got the win there too. Bowling Green is 5-2. I don't know what conference Bowling Green is.
You have new man.
Ooh, we've got a nice little tournament here. Sunshine Shootout. Let's see. Bowling Green. Conference F. That's above me by a few divisions. And 5-2. And on the road. I want to take a look at that report here real quick. And yeah, this was pretty balanced. We've got a better bench. And Monroe is better. The freshman is better than the senior small forward, which is awesome, by the way. And look at that. Only 2 juniors in the starting 5. Are we ranked at 8? No, not yet. But we can't be too far off from it after that win. I might have to pause and go get a cough drop here. Alright, so we've got this Sunshine tournament, so we actually get to participate in one, and we got the victory there against Hawaii, continuing our dominance. I mean, look at that. That is just awesome what we've been pulling off here so far this season. Undefeated. This may be the deepest I've gone undefeated in a season. I know a long time ago we had a couple really strong seasons, but with that double digits for the entire starting 5, plus Milton. Fitz only played 14 minutes, dang. Oh, and that Sunshine Shootout was a 1 game. It wasn't even a 4-team tournament or anything like that. Let's go ahead and sim through this. We've got Portland State on the road. It is a rival. We have lost this rival when they've looked weak before, when we've been on the road. And there you go. There you go. Portland State with the huge upset. Like I said, they've done it before, and they've done it again. The win streak to start the season has ended, and we started ice cold. We were down 15 at the half. Points in the paint. They absolutely crushed us, and second chance points, and fast break points. Wow, terrible day for our team. Rival games are rival games. The home team gets an even bigger boost than they normally get, and that was enough as we go down. So we've got Olean up next. And they are just 1-7. We should bounce back with a win here, but that's a tough pill to swallow. The road loss there at Portland State. But even before simming, I mentioned it's that rivalry game. That rival's always going to come out and play harder. And then when you throw in that we are on the road, it really tips things their direction. It gives them a real chance. And we lose back-to-back games here as Olean, who was just 1-7, gets the victory. So we lose both of those games. Ouch. Our RPI should have plummeted a lot more than that, but I suppose a road game is a road game is a road game. Speaking of, how many of those do we have left? Just one road game left here in the non-conference schedule. So after an amazing start, we go ice cold against two teams that we absolutely should have beaten. Charleston's going to be tougher. But can we bounce back? Well, anyway, as I get distracted, the objective of this episode is to get a lot deeper. Maybe get to the end of the season, which is why we're going to observe fewer games. Okay, here's the Charleston game. Can we bounce back and end the losing streak? No, that is 3 straight road losses. This was the toughest of the teams we played, so it was always going to be the toughest of those games. But, oh wow, look at that. Villanova coming up next. And this is going to be a difficult bounce back. Conference D for Villanova, so they are quite a few divisions above us. And look at that. They've got a total backcourt advantage. And Fitz, one of our weakest players, meaning they are really weak at center with the sophomore center in O'Bannon. And then we've got the advantage on the bench, but that's it. Best thing going for us is we are playing at home. We might watch that one. Just quick fashion, no slowdown. Especially coming off of 3 straight losses.
You have
we
no
are
mail.
desperate for a win. Desperate for a win, and then huge matchup. So we have just plummeted in RPI now. And let's see what we can do in this game. Can we finally bounce back after 3 straight road losses against 3 weaker teams? lot of back and forth here early on as the lead has changed hands many times already. Rebounds are fairly level. Turnovers are level. Shooting, both teams. This is a defensive battle. And even at the free throw line, we are struggling to shoot the ball, where we are 4 of 8 right now. 2 of 10 beyond the arc, and they are 5 of 10, that being the difference right now. They are making more threes than we are. At the half, Nova's got a 1-point lead. 14 of 40. Jeez. Both teams' defense absolutely struggle, causing the offenses to struggle. They are just 28% from the field. And we lead by 11 now. And that lead continues to grow as we're shooting the ball a little bit better. And they continue to struggle. I mean, that was their first field goal in 10 minutes. Ooh, they just got a few quick scores though. But it's not enough. We're pulling away. And we got the win, 65-48, in absolute defensive struggle. Chris Monroe steps up big with 17 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 9 rebounds for him. Steele adds 7 rebounds of his own, but only 2 points on 1 of 7 shooting. So you can see just how difficult the defense made it for both teams. McDermott, the big backcourt combo, did manage to get to double digits, but he was just 3 of 12 shooting, and that made a big difference. So Monroe absolutely dominated Keith Avery there, and that's where we got the win. So 65-48 final. Yeah, rebounded them a little bit. We did a little better on the turnovers, and it was absolutely better shooting, but both teams struggled in that department. Next up is Nevada on the road, and they are 7-3, but this is our first conference game of the season. But after losing the last 3 road games to teams that we should have beaten, beating Nevada is going to be a very tall order.
You have new mail.
Hitting the new year here. Chris Monroe has now taken over as the team leader in points per game. How is Nevada looking? Advantages definitely favoring us. So we are the better team, but we are on the road. They've had a good, solid season so far. The next few games are going to be a little more manageable. Let's go day by day so we can see the score, see the box score after. RPI back inside the top 100. And Nevada has lost its last couple games, so that record's not looking quite as daunting as it was a moment ago. No time to watch, but enough time to go back and look at the box score at least. Ooh, yes, we pull off the win. Ooh, close game, 79-76 is the final. Small halftime lead that we just maintained second half as both teams score a lot more. Points in the paint. They had the advantage with second chance points. We had the advantage. We were level. Fast breaks. Both teams had double-digit leads at one point. Fitz, 10 of 14 on field goals with 21 points. So Fitz comes up big on the day. Monroe just 11 points. Steele Nice big plus minus there with a plus 13, even though he was just 2 of 6. Next up is Peoria. That's a home game. They are 5 and 7. At this point, I think we might be strong enough to win all but 1 or 2 home games this season. So at 5 and 7, I think that's a more manageable game for us and a good opportunity to start the conference schedule at 2-0. Sure enough, and 12 and 3 now overall this season. Still a really good record, just quick downturn there where we got those 3 straight losses. Air Force on the road, they're just 4 and 9. That's definitely a winnable game, but of course any road game is losable as well. Quick glance here. We've been big in scoring, 80 points per game, 6th in the nation, 5th in assists. That RPI is climbing back up a bit too. And a couple of road wins will boost that even more. And there's the first of those. Weber State is up next. I always wanted to call it Weber State because I knew of Weber State around the time that Chris Weber, who did not play at Weber State, by the way. I want to say he played at Michigan, but Chris Weber, big time college basketball player, one of the best all time, at least in terms of profile, and then went on to have a great NBA career. But I want to say he played for Michigan.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
We get the win there against Weber State. 14 and 3 now, and a perfect 4 and 0 in the conference. But Waco might be a tougher test for us here. 6 and 9 team on the road. And you can see they do have an advantage at power forward, so there is a position where they could potentially put up some big numbers. Clarksville 7 and 6. Louisiana Lafayette, that's a winnable game. They're just 3 and 12. Valparaiso coming up 13 and 4. That'll be the next game that we check out, as they are looking pretty good. Wright State, perfect 4-0 so far. Valparaiso just 2 and 2. So even though they're 13 and 4 overall, Pittsburgh's 12 and 3. So the contenders are starting to emerge a bit here. This could be a loss with Waco. Give us a 55-60% chance on this one. But considering that we've won, 5 in a row? I think it could go the other way for us, and it could go that way right around now. But it doesn't. We win another. 15th on the year. Clarksville at home. Yes, they're 9 and 7, but I'm feeling pretty confident about playing at home. Like I said, I think we could probably finish the regular season with maybe just 1 loss at home. 16 and 3, 6 and 0 in conference. What a start. We are looking real good this year.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
The RPI inching up a little bit higher, 42nd now. Wright State is just 7-10 overall. Charlotte 10-7. But that Valparaiso game is coming up next. Oh, and it's a road game. It is a road game. We lead the conference now with Pittsburgh Christian, 1 game behind, and then we've got a 2-game drop to a pretty large group, so it's still tight. We can now say that Air Force, Alabama A&M, Louisiana Lafayette are out of contention. Clarksville, Waco, Weber State are approaching that point. So our bid for another promotion is looking decent, as a lot of contenders are getting knocked off early. But Pittsburgh Christian 14-3, Valparaiso 15-4, and yes, they had started 2-2, but they won both of those last 2 games. So in terms of records, we've got 3 pretty dominant teams when you include non-conference. Pittsburgh Christian's been perfect at home like we have. Their RPI is looking pretty high as well. Here is, San Luis Obispo. There we go. Last episode, somebody pointed that out to me. Thank you. So they got promoted with me. Their RPI is looking pretty high as well. Valparaiso is only 94th, so they're not as dominant as their record suggests, meaning they probably had a pretty easy non-conference schedule. But they are 9-1 at home. So yes, we'll check out that game. So as far as conference schedule goes, with 10 to play, this is going to be one of the 2 toughest games probably that we play. And right now we're doing okay for time, and those team stats looking even better. Turnovers per game, 2nd in the nation. Steals per game given up by opponents, just 2nd in the nation. Assists per game, offensively, 3rd in the nation, and points per game, 4th in the nation. So we are doing fantastic in a few categories. So we're going to head into this game here. Look how close we are in records, just a game apart, and I'm the road team. And I think they had the advantage with, was it power forward? 2.5 minutes into the game, I did not score. Then we quickly pull out 10 points, just like that. So we go from nothing for a couple minutes to some high-flying action and pull out an early lead there. Valparaiso definitely getting a little run going there. We do have a lead, 23-21 at the moment, though. And rebounds are level. Turnovers, -3. We've got a big advantage shooting-wise, but free throws we're struggling, and they're a perfect 10 of 10. Let's go ahead and use one timeout here, as it's going to get burned at halftime anyway. Allow us to get back into this game as we trailed by just about 10 points there. A few minutes before halftime, we do close it down to, a 5-point deficit at the half, and we come right out early in the second half and get back into this thing. We are going to slow down to about a 9 here. Once we get under 10 minutes, it's 51-50, so we are still in this. Rebounds are level. Turnovers still minus a little bit. So we're still struggling in that department, as we're -1. Field goals, though, perfect 50% on the day. Well, that's not perfect, but that's a solid number. Few quick points, though, for an and one for Marcus Cobb, and that is their advantage. And speaking of Marcus Cobb, 13 points for night shooting and 7 rebounds. So their advantage at the power forward position is showing itself. Waltman having a huge day with 15 points. Milton's got 10 points off the bench. Fitz has 13 on 6 of 8 shooting and 11 rebounds. So he's already got a double-double. And we are level at 67 with 4 minutes left to play in this one. I still got all my timeouts. 3-pointers are looking really good, 40%. Free throws, though, still struggling. We are under 50% from the free throw line. And that is the difference in this game. Otherwise, we would be well ahead as we are 10% better from the field shooting the ball. Rebounds, though, is also a -6. That's the other area. 2 minutes to play. It is tied. And they just made a big 3-point shot. Lubicic with 3, and then we missed ours. And we need to use those timeouts here any chance we get. We trail by 5 now with a minute to play. And then Steele turns the ball over out of the 3. So that Lubicic got another 3-pointer to stretch the lead to 5. And we're going to lose this one. We are going to lose this one. And we do. We didn't even get the ball back. We got the rebound at the final second. They were able to stall the clock. Look at that, 34 seconds on that possession. We were not able to force a turnover, commit a foul, or anything. Ouch. So multiple turnovers right at the end in the final minute. And we lose 80-75. But we were right there. Monroe ended up with 16 points. Little disappointing, but that was going to be a tough game. And the final minute, they outplayed us. Next up is Louisiana Lafayette on the road. This is one of those games where you feel we have to bounce back on this one. They have not won a conference game yet. Don't start now, please. I'd give us a 70% chance here. Which is just about as high as I would be willing to predict if we don't get the win. We don't get the win. We just lost to the worst team in the conference. I don't care if it's on the road.
You have new mail.
They've played plenty of home games in the conference already. This team's having a bad habit of coming back from losses with more losses. So I have a very streaky team right now. So Notre Dame's shooting guard is favored as the best player in the country right now. Charlotte at home. That should end the now 2-game losing streak. We are halfway through the conference schedule. 6-2. If you would have asked me that before we started the conference schedule, 6-2, I would have said that was good. But that loss to Louisiana Lafayette hurts. It's like outside of the one loss to Valparaiso that we should have lost, that we almost won. Right? Outside of that game, the other 4 losses we've had on the season as a whole were all games we should have won. Or at least 3 of those, I think. I think 3 of the losses we've had should have been wins and have been bad performances by the team. So we're a little streaky, and that makes me a little bit worried about the end of the season when we get into conference play, the conference tournament, and we just lost another road game, Wright State. That one's a little more acceptable. They're 9-11, and they were second place for a while in the standings. So It's Polytech, by the way, now leading the conference. Pittsburgh, Valparaiso, Washington, D.C., Wright State, who we just lost to. That's why I said that's understandable. They had a tough non-conference schedule, apparently. And us. Huge logjam at the top. Peoria, Charlotte, the only other ones left in contention, as these guys are all out of it. But it is very much a logjam at the top. Western Illinois is next. Now, there's only one tough team left on our schedule. Do we have to play them on the road, though? Or do we get the advantage of playing them at home? Okay, so we bounce back with a win, and we get them at home. Well, that wasn't who I was talking about. We've got an injured player, though. Oh, man. Oh, gotta play Nevada again. And here comes Pittsburgh Christian, 16-5 overall. How are they looking? Oh, we've got the better team. They have no positions where they have an advantage. I don't know if we're playing them at home, though. Ooh, look at that logjam now. 8-3. Pittsburgh Christian actually dropping behind at 7-4. Charlotte's still in contention, though, at 6-5. Another couple losses for them, though, and they'll be out of it. Moment of truth. Oh, double injuries. And Steele is one of them, but it's only 3 days. Desmond Jenkins, though, is going to be out for 12. And let's see, Jenkins is just a 1.5 star player, so no loss there. But Steele, even though he's only 2.5 stars, has been a big contributor for us, and it is a starter, but he's only down for a few days. But we do get Cal Polytech in that time. We are at home, though, so I think we'll be okay. I hope. I think it drops our chances of winning by about 10%. Let's take a look at the schedule that remains here. So, Pittsburgh Christian, it is a road game. That was the one I was worried about, because their RPI is almost identical to ours. So, Pittsburgh Christian is that toughest game we have left on the calendar, and it's a road game too. So we've had all of the better teams in the conference on the road. Valparaiso, Pittsburgh Christian. We had Nevada on the road earlier. We had Wright State on the road. Yikes. Okay. Well, let's continue on. Let's take it one day at a time here. Okay. This is a very winnable game, but we are without our power forward. Or at least he's playing injured. We got the win, though.
You have new mail.
Whew. Wow, look at that. We crushed them in the second half. They actually had a halftime lead. Big second half, though. And our largest lead of the game was met there at the final score. Monroe had 15, Moore had 15, Waltman had 13, so our guards, our perimeter play was huge in this game. Fitz had 12 boards, but only 9 points, so he actually didn't even get a double-double. And if he would have made his free throws a little better, he would have. Alright, so we've nearly made it to the end of the season, but not quite. We're almost there. But then we've got the tournament coming up. Wow, look at that. Valparaiso's ranked 20-5. They are ranked 25th in the country. And they're playing Wright State on the road. So the big matchups this week. Let's go ahead and set this up, though. So here we are at the top once again with Washington, D.C. and Valparaiso, 9-3. And then Cal Polytech, Pittsburgh Christian, and Wright State all right behind us. That's still 6 teams in this logjam at the top. Plus, Charlotte still winning, and Peoria close enough to be in contention, meaning there's still 8 teams trying to go for 3 automatic promotion spots. Yikes. And we have, 4 games left to play in the conference schedule? We've got to take on Pittsburgh Christian on the road. They are 10-1 at home. The only team left... Charlotte's undefeated at home, too. Look at how dominant teams have been at home here in the top end of the conference. And then it comes down to who's been able to do what on the road. Valparaiso, pretty good on the road. Us, we're down to 7-6 on the road. We're a 500 team on the road now. Yikes! Our RPI is higher than Valparaiso, and yet they're ranked. They beat us. Because they played at home. DC, not so good on the road. Cal Polytech, not so good on the road. Pittsburgh's been a decent team on the road, and that's why these are kind of the 3 main contenders. That's why Wright State at 4-11 on the road isn't. But Cal Polytech's 61st in RPI, so they're actually still good. They've only had 7 games at home, no wonder. It's kind of turning into a 4-horse race, but Washington, D.C. has benefited from probably what can likely be put down as a easier schedule. Anyway, this is going to be where we stop things. But we're going to get this one more day out of the way. So we are going to watch this one. And then we'll wrap up this episode. So we'll leave it with the cliffhanger after this game. Big matchup on the road. Now, we have not had a big road victory this season. We've come up just short in all of those. And we've lost a number of road games against bad teams. So the road has not been our friend, but we got a quick start with a 10-4 lead, now 12-7. +3 on turnovers. Big advantage in shooting early on. 18-9 advantage on the scoreboard. Monroe's already got 10 points on 4-4 shooting. So he looks poised for a big day, but he has not scored since. And the lead has been cut, 28-25. That one timeout here before half. Try to take a little momentum into halftime if we can. And we don't. And in fact, we trail now. We scored right before half. So 36-35 is the halftime score. Both my guards are just 1 of 4 shooting, while Monroe continues to put up big numbers. He's already got 18. Rebounds, -4. Turnovers, +4. Shooting, plus a little bit. Free throws, more chances, but they're shooting better. 3-pointers, though, is a definite advantage. And now we have a big lead just like that. We just went on a huge run. It's 66-48. Monroe back in there. He's got 27 points now. So it is the Chris Monroe show here. Timeout. Make sure we see this game now. 79-68, 80-72. They are trying to make a run here. 85-75. There you go. 88-75 final. Monroe finishes with 30 points. Made 10 field goals on 15 attempts. Brian Steele also adds 14 points. Fitz also adds 13 points. And surprisingly, it's Ben Waltman with 8 rebounds leading in that category. Rebounds, we ended up pretty much level. Turnovers, +2. Shooting, we shot 51% from the field. They were near perfect from the free throw line, but we got to the free throw line 2.5 times as much as they did. And shot the ball better from 3 as well. So the free throw line really made the difference today. Final score 88-75. We do pull off the big victory. We'll see where we're at in the standings. And then I will wrap things up. Valparaiso do lose to Wright State, so that whole road thing makes a huge difference. Charlotte went down. Nevada went down, but DC gets another win. Cal Polytech lose at home to Peoria. So that's going to shake things up a little bit and shape our last few games ever so slightly. So these guys are totally out of contention. Look at that. Louisiana Lafayette, 2 wins. 2 wins. One of them against me. If I could only have that game back. These guys are totally out of it. Waco's out of it. Charlotte is out of it now. Not officially, but they would have to win every game and everybody else pretty much have to lose. So we're down to... These guys are 2 games back. It's going to be really hard for them to get in it. And then we're kind of down to these 4 teams, but those 3 have a slight chance. One more win, and we should just about secure a top 4 place. But it's going to take more than that to get a top 3. So Washington, D.C. now level with us on top, surprisingly. Wright State, still 1 game back. Valparaiso, 1 game back. And then that logjam. We just about put Pittsburgh Christian out of contention with that victory because now they're 2 games behind. We've got Nevada next up. And then bracket breaker Sunday versus Charleston Southern. They are 11-2 in their conference, 21-3 overall, and their RPI is 17th. Is Charleston Southern ranked? Yes, they're ranked 17th. Wow, that's it's a home game, but that's going to be the chance to lose our perfect record at home, as that is a good team. I don't know what conference they're in yet. Peoria on the road, Eden 5. That's a tough win. Air Force is definitely winnable, though. Nevada is definitely winnable. So if I take 2 out of 3, we should have an automatic promotion bid. Should be in the top 3. This game doesn't mean much because I think we've done enough. We've already got 20 wins. If we get to 22... we should make the tournament regardless of whether we win the conference tournament or not. But a win there really helps that. If we go 4-0, then we would definitely be at 24-6. We would definitely make the NCAA tournament. And we might just be ranked. We'll see. Valparaiso is still at the moment listed at 25th, but we're still in the middle of the week schedule. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. So our next episode will finish out the season. We'll have our March Madness tournament time, and then we might get into a little bit of recruiting, depending on how deep we get into those two tournaments. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my Road to the Record. Bye for now.